I've got the Ugreen PowerRoam portable power station here. It's a solar generator. It's a 1200 watt output and basically 1 kilowatt hour battery, or 1024 watt hours. Definitely for things like laptops, drones, computers, Wi-Fi, TV. You could definitely run a refrigerator or freezer off of it, but it's not going to run for a super long time. They can even run some water pumps and sump pumps. So depending on what your power needs are, this may be an option for you or it may not be. So stick around for this review of this Ugreen unit so you can see if it's the right fit for you. So everything that you see in front of me is what comes in the box. So obviously we've got the unit, we've got a fast wall charging cable, we've got a single XT60 to a dual XT60 adapter, cigarette lighter port to XT60, a car charger adapter, and then this, I believe it's a 5.5 by 2.1 millimeter cable right here. We've got a customer service card with a 5-year warranty. That's very impressive. I'm really glad to see that these power station companies, these solar generator companies, are really starting to increase their warranties for these systems, because a lot of traditional solar has 20 to 30-year warranties. So knowing that they're going to take care of this for 5 years, 5 years is definitely on the higher side of warranties. And then of course the user guide. All of it fits in this handy dandy pouch that comes with it. And as you can see, the screen does not like to stay on very long. It's always a gripe of mine. I always want to control when the screen is turning on and off. A little screen like this will give off quite a bit of illumination in a pitch black room. In a dark room, it's going to act as a good nightlight. So it's nice that it automatically turns off, but I'd rather be able to select turning it off rather than it doing it on its own. On the front, we've got a light. We've got a 12 volt regulated DC output right here. We've got the 5.5 by 21 millimeter barrel ports here. We've got 2 USB-A. Both are fast charging at 22.5 watts, and then 2 100 watt USB-C, and then the button for the flashlight here. Now, one thing that's really interesting that we're starting to see a lot more of with these AC outlets. First of all, there's 6 of them here. 3 of them are grounded. 3 of them are ungrounded. Traditionally, these solar generators are not grounded, because they're just a floating brick of power that you use wherever. But as you notice on this side, the input side, there actually is a grounding lug here, a grounding screw that you can attach a ground wire. And these AC ports here actually have a metal contact inside of the grounding hole. That is not very common in these power stations. Most often, you will see that these bottom holes here are just empty. So it's cool that it will now work with truly grounded equipment, and you can truly ground it to a grounding rod, and that's enough about grounding. We've got our air exhaust and intake right here. We've got our XT60. This is our DC power in, so it's going to be for solar and car charging. And then a C14 right here. A C14 is the female receptacle of the C13 plug right here. Very, very common cord, and it has fast wall charging built into it. And then of course you've got your AC reset button right here. Just in case you overload it, you can reset it. Now I did a round trip efficiency test on this where I drained it at a 0.2 C discharge rate. 0.2 C just means I take the total battery capacity, which is effectively 1000 watt hours, and I put a 200 watt load. So that's 1/5 of the battery capacity, which is 0.2 or 20%. Put a 0.2 C discharge rate on it, and I got an 80% round trip efficiency. So I got 80% out of the battery, which basically means the battery has a usable 800 watt hours of capacity at a 0.2 C discharge rate. Now that will vary depending on how hard you use it. So if you're only using it at say a 0.1, half of that, only at about 100 watts, then it's probably going to be even more efficient. And if you're using it much harder, say at like a 1 C or about 1000 watts drain, because the battery capacity is 1000 watt hours, then it's probably going to be less efficient. That's generally how batteries and inverters work. Now it is very portable. It is very easy to lift around. It's probably around 25 pounds. Let's find out exactly the weight on it. Oh, 25 pounds, 9 ounces, pretty close. So it is easy to move around, and it is able to take quite the beating. I've taken this with me in my truck, my side-by-side, and I've run different projects with it, and it does great. And it has 0 issues so far running at all. But we want to get into the solar input as well. We've talked about its round trip efficiency, the specs of it. How well does it charge with solar? Let's go ahead and test that. I've got 2 of these 200 watt solar panels connected in series. So we should be making around 42 volts. And I've got that connected to the unit. And let's see what we got going in. Only 275. That's not very exciting. With that being said, testing this on another unit, only getting 297 over here, so maybe it really is the panels. I'll go ahead and test again, see where we are at. So we just broke 300, so it's actually doing really well. It must just be that it's a warmer day that the solar panels aren't putting out as much. But this is a real world condition where I have a perfectly clear sunny day. It's 65 degrees outside, and this is how the panels are performing with this Ugreen unit. So this is what you could expect on a real clear sunny day. So it did okay with the solar charging. I really wish I would have seen more solar input on it. We possibly could have rearranged the panels to have a different setup because the charge parameter on this is 12 to 48 volts and up to 15 amps, which allows up to a 400 watt input. So we maximize the voltage pretty much on the input of this. So there's no reason it shouldn't have gotten the 400 watts in. The panels must have just been too warm or something like that. But overall, we could have added another array of 2 panels and really increased the amperage, and that probably would have pushed it up to the 400 watts. So in my experience so far, if I wanted to actually get 400 watts input, I would over panel the system. So it's not to give extra padding or anything like that to Ugreen, it's just performing as expected with the solar panels, and I would wish that I could get more, but that's how solar panels work. Now, how does this compare to something like a Delta 2? The Delta 2 is made by EcoFlow, and you can see these are very similarly sized units, but the EcoFlow Delta 2 is slightly taller if you don't factor in the handle here, the actual body. But once you include the body, they're almost pretty much the same size. Now in the Delta 2, you're only going to have 2 grounded AC outlets. But with these AC outlets, there's actually nothing in that grounding hole. It's just empty, just so the plug can fit in properly, because this does not have a grounding lug like this does. As far as solar input, this uses an XT60i, which is the orange plug instead of yellow, and that just means that it has 1 extra pin and it can handle a lot more current. We got the same C14 input port right here for fast wall charging. Both of these have fast wall charging, and then we have our AC reset. You don't see that grounding lug in here. One unique feature to the Delta 2 is you can add an expansion battery using this XT150 port, and those would work with either the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max expansion batteries or the EcoFlow Delta Max. So Delta 1 Max or Delta 2 Max, both of those types of batteries can expand onto here. As far as efficiency goes, they're very similar, but the Ugreen unit is simple, it's straightforward, and you get what is advertised to you, which is what I really like about it. Now, for me personally, I actually prefer a single handle on top rather than the 2 handles on the side, because most often I'm only having 1 hand available to carry something of this size, because I'm carrying either my camera or a spotting scope, something like that. Whatever tools I need to be powering from this, I'm trying to move all of it at once. So I end up carrying this from its side, which is not a huge deal, but it's just something to be aware of, something to consider when moving this portably. I prefer a handle on top. Now, one critical thing that this unit can do that I've not seen any other unit being able to do, not even the Delta 2. The Delta 2 has an XBoost that goes from a 1200 watt output to an 1800 watt output. This Ugreen unit can go up to a 2500 watt output. For a tiny power station like this, it's absolutely incredible. That means you can be able to run heavy duty water pumps. For example, at my cabin, my off-grid cabin, I have a water cistern that holds all of our fresh water for the cabin. And every now and then, if I need to pump it out or I need to clean it or whatever it is, I need a powerful pump to empty that cistern. This is capable of running those powerful pumps with their U-Turbo tech that's built into this system. Also, this uses lithium iron phosphate batteries, so you know you're going to get at least 3,000 cycles out of it. Basically, the bottom line is the battery is going to last longer than you will ever be able to use up those cycles. It's going to degrade over time faster than you using those cycles, unless you truly use this every day, all day. It's just not going to happen. 3,000 cycles is easily 10 years, so very impressive with the battery chemistry here. Now, this also does have an app, so you can connect to it, you can put it on silent mode or eco mode, you can change what you're running, turn things on and off, and you just connect that through the Wi-Fi and use it on your phone, and it's very easy and simple to use. Now, there is a coupon for this right now. I believe it's a limited time, so I will put a link down below. Just click the show more button in the description. I have all of the information there to get discounts on this. Now, there are similar units. For example, the GrowWatt Infinity 1500. This is a slightly more powerful unit. You probably can't see it with this in the way. This one right here is slightly more powerful, but that one's been slightly finicky, whereas this one has not given me any issues at all. So if you just need a simple power station that's, say, just gonna run UPS as for your refrigerator or freezer or something simple, maybe it's a UPS for your computer. This is going to get the job done. Now, if you're talking about emergency preparedness for a long-term power outage, this is not going to get that done. It's simply not enough battery capacity and input from the solar to be able to run for days on end, running critical devices such as a refrigerator or a freezer. It can definitely give you like a 4 to 8 hour window of helping you run that equipment for that long, but overall it's going to depend on the conditions that you're in. Maybe it's really warm out, maybe it's hot inside your house, and so your fridge is going to be running harder, and this is simply not going to be able to run it as long. Interestingly enough, if you've looked at the Patriot solar generators, I would hands down get this over one of those, and this is substantially less cost than one of those Patriot solar generators. I've done a review on it in the past, you can go check out that video. But this has a similar size battery, it's a little bit smaller inverter, but you get way more battery capacity out of this than you do that Patriot unit. This one blows that one out of the water. Now, for anything solar generator related that you want for emergency preparedness, if you go to poweredportablesolar.com, you'll find all of the systems that I personally use or recommend for long-term power outages. Maybe it's just for RVing or an off-grid cabin or something like that. You'll find all of that information there, and I'm always happy to help you figure out what system is going to be the best for your situation. Not specific to a brand, but just finding which one is the best to suit your needs, reach your goals, and at the best price. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to help. Prepare for self-rescue. See you all in the next video.